Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in today's video, we're going to go over AS Akane with her manifest, and of course I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think about her. But the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
Well, she is Shion's little sister, and so I think of her more of a tomboy, so not for me, although others may find her hot. Anyways, AS Akane was one of the earlier AS units, and so she's gotten a big upgrade with her manifest as a katana fire slash user. Now her level 3 VC only boosts herself, so power and speed of user plus 40% for 3 turns, and this is with her true VC Grasta. Again, very, very useful, although it is quite a selfish boost, and so if you are able to make use of this VC, it'll make her even more powerful than she already is. Now you can take a look at the 3 skills I have armed on her. So let's talk about her Anant Man, and this is the one of the 2 5-star moves that got boosted. Fire types attacks of user plus 30, power plus 30, and speed plus 30 for 4 turns, and crit rate for herself 100% for 4 moves. So very, very useful, although keep in mind that during a long AF, the 4 moves will fade and be used up very, very quickly. So you might want to have another dedicated crit rate setter so you don't have to reenact Anant Man during the AF. Other than that, very, very good upgrade. And keep in mind that the MP cost on this move is very low as well. Now, I would say that Flat Strike is a very unique move. I think Azami has it similarly. And basically, it's a blunt attack, single enemy, small, and it can inflict stun. Now, for older players who had to use this move using Azami against the Cradle system, you'll know that this can be very useful at times, although in the end game, probably not too much. And finally, the Divine Circle Slash is the other 5-star move that got boosted, and this is her AS move. It is very useful in the fact that it doesn't need any other setup other than the Natman. You spam this move, fire type slash, single enemy small, and stacks on herself, and further increase damage when critical, so times 2 crit now instead of before. Number of attacks increase based on number of stacks, and the stacks don't go away during AF, just like most manifested AS units. So at 3 stacks, she gets the 3 small slashes, as well as an AoE XL. So it really does boost her power, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later throughout the video in a few different examples. So she has really come a long way, although, like I said before, she is a very selfish unit and relies on other units to kind of boost her or keep her going. And you can see her 5-star moves. Note that the MP cost is higher because of the Grasta ore that I have set up, so I'll just show you that. And note she is also Eastern and Katana to share those Grastas as well. Standard pain with the enemy numbers, weak point as well as MP consumption. So, let's take Hero for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I will also have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So again, she's not a healer, just a frontline fighter, and she's very fragile. Katana users generally take a lot of damage. But that being said, she deals out the damage as well. Okay, nice and simple. Again, weaker mobs, absolutely no problem. There is a limitation in the fact that until she gets her 3 stacks, all her attacks are essentially single target, and so doesn't really have any mob clearing abilities. Now that being said, against horrors, she first casts a Natman, or you can VC her in, and you attack, and it builds up attack. So instead of 1 hit, now it becomes 2, and on the 3rd hit, it becomes 3. Keep in mind that, remember we cast a Natman, so all her hits are guaranteed crit for 4 hits, or 4 moves. Alright, so again, for people who have played the game for a while, you'll remember Rot Rival was a very difficult boss fight, optional boss fight, and at the time, I believe AS Akane was just out for a couple of weeks, and she was considered the #1 way to kill off Rot Rival. So let's revisit some old times and use a dated team to see if we can take down Rot Rival. We have absolutely no Grasta on anybody here, and everyone else is just using their manifest weapons. So you can see just alone with the manifest weapons how far we've come in the game in terms of power, as opposed to before when we're using lower end either level 60 weapons with no additional attributes, or in this case, when this boss first came out, Eastern Part 1 had just come out. Grasters were in very difficult supply, and a lot of us didn't even have 360 light to grind out all 5 reward slots. Alright, so keep in mind that the first attack was the AoE Wind, and so we had to have Aurora Force or Int down, and we did that thanks to Seti, Vigilant Lance. Now we VC'd in Xion to apply Slash Resistance down 25 and Power down, and we're going to activate an AF and see if it's enough to end the boss. Note the damage numbers on everyone other than Akane is very, very low, and that's because there's no Grasta and nothing else on it. And of course, Miyu in her 5-star OG form with just her little glitter is a shadow of her newer AS Miyu self. That being said, remember that because we didn't have Zone at the time, we really need multi-hit attacks that the enemy is weak to boost the AF bar. Because in Zone, a bar boost is 7.5% no matter how many hits you have, whereas outside Zone is 2.5% boost for the AF bar per weakness hit, and of course less if it's not against weakness. And so we really relied on multi-hits here, and being that Akane now can hit up to 4 times when the 3 stacks are in play and doesn't go away during AF, it works very, very well. So just kind of revisiting old times and kind of seeing how things are going. Note that without any Grasta, she can still hit 1,000,000 per hit, which is a lot more than you can say about, for example, Miyu 5-star. And I really do hope that they really upgrade her stats eventually, because let's be honest, I've had Miyu 5-star for some time, and I would really like her to be boosted, or at least boost her little glitter weapon to kind of manifest itself. Alright, so in our second example, let's have a little bit of fun here and beat up on the teacher. And so we're going to misbehave in her class, and we're going to use an all-katana team to take on Serene. And again, this final fight was very difficult back in the day. You could actually have gotten wiped, although if you use the appropriate wind units or fire units, especially multi-hit ones, even in the absence of Zone, you're able to do a lot of damage. Keep in mind that we already have the access to all of the manifest weapons, and we even have access to one of the newer units here, AS Sukiya, which is a katana user and also boosts a lot of katana users with her Princess of Divinity, as well as physical resistance down with her Howling Surge. So we start off with that with Princess of Divinity. We had also VC'd in Akane AS to give herself that boost to power and speed. And then we're just going to lay the smackdown. So note that with a little bit more Grasta, she can hit quite a bit. And if you don't cast an Ant-Man herself and have someone else set the crit for her, you're going to have more and more hits and build up the combo meter. So you can see the small hits are already in the 10 million range, and her big hit is already like 20-something million. And of course, the other, there you go, like that, 14, like, 20-something million. Quite nice, actually. Of course, this is, again, without Zone. So in the appropriate zone, either Slash Zone or Fire Zone, you're gonna see some pretty big numbers otherwise. Keep in mind that if you want bigger numbers, you can also stack buffs, debuffs, use Grasta slaves to carry Grasta in the back and share them, and of course, like I said, Zone units or so on and so forth. In that case, one hit, game over, all done. Okay. I know that wasn't much of a challenge, but again, just kind of demonstrating the difference in abilities before her manifest versus with her manifest. And I think my initial thoughts of AS Akane is, although she is mainly single target, she does have that AoE within the AF once she gets to the 3 stacks. She can do fairly significant damage, and keep in mind, I'm just playtesting. We're not even doing like maximum damage in Zone, and we can already get some decent numbers here. So I would say she's quite, at first glance, quite useful for a lot of fire teams, especially if you're lacking ultra powerful units, for example, such as AS Yuan or AS Thili. And a lot of us do have Akane already, so side grading her shouldn't be a problem unless you're short a few chats, and hopefully you can grind those out within a few weeks to months. Now in our final example, I know that Unseen is a much older boss, but let's have a one-turn katana with Melissa kill, setup I should say, and see what it takes to take down the Unseen. And of course, before this, I don't know if Akane would be able to do this much damage. But since we now have her as her manifest, we applied, again, Howling Surge, and we can just slash down the Unseen, and look at those big numbers. One more hit there. Alright. So, easy peasy, 100 million off the bat. We have hit the HP stopper, and let's see how much Akane can do outside AF. Note that you really do want to have an Ant-Man active, and make sure she at least has one guaranteed stack of crits so that she doesn't waste it. So outside AF, still millions, not tens of millions, but does her job in wearing down the boss post AF. Now I could say that her numbers, again, at first glance don't look extremely powerful, but I think that this is just the initial stages, and I think it's a nice refreshing boost to AS Akane, and I'm sure that as more units come out where we can even do bigger and better synergies, I think she's going to be welcome in most teams. For myself, I'm actually very excited to have Akane AS back in the front line, being that I got her only recently and never really got to experiment with her. So in conclusion, I think AS Akane is a relatively cheap way to get a front line top tier fire / DPS. She can work on slash zone, fire zone, and even katana boosting in conjunction with things like Cyrus and other katana users. I am welcoming her back on the team, and hopefully I can use her in more super boss fights or optional content in the future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.